Hey, Rob Cushing from the BetterClaim.com music blog, and welcome. And wanted to shoot this video. This is another of the ongoing series on planning and booking a tour for your band. Okay, now before we start, a few things. I want to let you know, number one, that I have a link below to my subscriber list that you're free to welcome to go and sign up on. You're going to find out some more cool tidbits about all stuff like this and keeping a positive outlook and just cool things, to help provide value for whatever you're in, your music business, even, traditional business. I also have my personal contact info for you below that you're free to use. I'd love to connect with you socially. Reach out to me if you have any questions about anything, okay? There's my email, my phone number, my Skype ID, if you want to Skype with me, Facebook, Twitter, what have you, okay? So feel free to use that, okay? So what I want to do today is talk to you, about planning and booking your tour. Okay, so we've gone through all this series of videos and articles. And by the way, I do have a link to my original blog post below that you can read along with this too. So we've gotten to the point where you're actually on tour. You started your tour, giving you some good tidbits about just actually getting on the road and just when you're traveling around, like food and lodging and transportation, this type of thing. Okay, let's talk today about some really important stuff, and this is part of the reason that you're out there, which is marketing yourself, okay? And in particular, this video is going to talk about marketing your merchandise while you're on tour, okay? So like I said, you've gotten on the road with your reliable form of transportation like we talked about in the previous videos, and you've made it to your first out-of-town gig. Awesome, okay? Now, while you're getting ready to load in and prepare for your show, there's one important piece of equipment that you need to set up in order for you to attract fans, in order for you to get your music out there, and in order for you to be seen. And I'm not talking about your live performance, okay? Obviously that. But for this time out, I'm really talking about your merchandise table, okay? So I've got a few tips for your musical act, band, solo artist, whatever. This will help ensure that your merchandise is being noticed and it's getting purchased, okay? First off, location, location, location. If at all possible, you want to try and get your merch table somewhere where it's going to be seen, okay? Most times, the club manager, the band promoter is already going to have a designated spot for your setup. So if you don't have a choice of where to put it, just respect their wishes, be nice about it, deal with it the best you can. But if you do have a place where you, some kind of choice in the matter where you can put your merchandise table, okay? Because there's going to be places and instances where you might be able to have a say in where that is. Okay. Now, if you do have a choice in that, you want to make it in its place that's the most accessible to the fans. Okay. A lot of times the bands make the mistake of setting up an area that's accessible to themselves, but that's not usually the same place where you can maximize your exposure. Okay. Which means don't put it by the stage, and then make the person who walks up, make the band member run over, or make a person who's walking up feel self-conscious because the band member is running over every time someone comes up to peruse your merch, right? Get it back. You want to put it in back, okay, in a high traffic area, which could mean by the line to the restrooms or to the bar. It might even be, depending on where it is and what kind of type of the club setup and where you're allowed to, where you're not allowed to. It could even be a different room than the show itself, okay? But wherever you set up, you want to make sure it's a high traffic, easily accessible area, okay? So that's number one. Number two, have someone designated to man that merch table, okay? The merch table should always have someone behind it ready to do transactions. From the time that you first set it up before the first people come in the door until the last one is left and it's time to head, and you need to break down and head to the next town, okay? Because you never know when you'll get a great sale from even like one of the staff members, like when you're setting up or after you're tearing down. So always have it up from that time when you first arrive. That should be probably one of the first things you set up, even though no one's allowed in the club yet. It should be pretty much the last thing you tear down, okay? If humanly possible, find someone not in the band to run the merchandise table, if humanly possible. If you have a good friend or you have a family member doing your tour, or a super fan that you could trust, okay, have them man the table, all right? Because honestly, there's too much going on with the band that they need to pay attention to, like loading in, sound check, performance, meeting with fans, which is a big one. You can do that by your table, load out, those types of things. but and it's okay to hang out by your merch table and meet with the fans because that's super important. But to actually have to worry about running it at the merchandise table, especially when the potential for theft is there, if you're playing, if someone's on top of it, it's so important. So get someone to man that, okay? Like I said, now on the flip side of that, I also want to really stress if you're not needed for sound check, if you're not performing, try to have band members, maybe not all of them, but at least one or two of them, or some of them, hanging around the merch table as much as possible, because particularly right after your set, okay? Because it does help with meeting new fans, and it does help them get them to subscribe to your mailing list. And just like when you subscribe to mine below, you can find how to take your band or business to the next level, okay? So go down to that link for that to subscribe to my mailing list, okay? So I know this sounds a little bit countermanding to each other, what I was talking about, but use the time you have to be around the merch table and meet with fans without worrying to actually run it, okay? I hope that makes some sense. So bottom line, you want to be around the merch table, but not behind it, okay? You get what I'm saying? Okay. Another bit of advice. You want to be up front and center. Okay, so think of your merch table as like a display window at a store, right? It doesn't do you any good to have piles of t-shirts and randomly placed CDs, etc., when it's not going to catch the eye of like a passerby. Get creative. I have some really cool links on my blog post. You can see some people have done creative things with it. Okay, get creative. You can even get specially made merchandise cases that are particularly made for traveling bands, like Amazon, Craigslist. I've seen them advertised there. Okay, so in addition to having something ready for display, it saves valuable time on unpacking and packing. Okay, so I've seen some bands use guitar cases to hang shirts in. Others have used really cool LED lights, or they're used to pimp out cars, and they use those to line the table. So the three things that are key for your merch table is make it attractive, make it interesting, and make it you, okay? Also, another thing too is you want to stay organized with your inventory and your finances, okay? And I have an article that I link back to in the blog post below, link for that. There's a link to another article back in there that I wrote a while before that names some really good mobile apps to use for tracking band finances, and I think I made a video on that too. And your finances should include your merch sales, okay? Not only do you want to stay on track, okay, you can make things a hell of a lot easier for yourself by doing so electronically, okay? It's quick, it's easy to track, and there's less chance for error, all right? All right, so the most important item on your merch table, so let's go with this, okay? So all the things I talked about are awesome, but you want the most important item on your merch table, and it's this, okay? It is the mailing list sign up, okay? You always make sure that you have at least a clipboard and you got business cards laid out with your band's contact information, including your website. On the header of your, you want the band's contact information on the business cards, including the website. You also want it on the header of your sign-up list, okay? It should be, the sign-up list and your card should be right at the forefront, up and center of your merch table, no matter what. I don't care what you're selling. If it could be your own whiskey, you still want that mailing list, and you want those business cards front and center, okay? And on the mailing list, you want to ask for the person's name, ask for the email address, and if you want, what town they're in. And the reason for that is so you can do geographic targeting on marketing later on, okay? I've seen some that ask for mailing addresses or phone numbers, but I mean, number one, you're going to find most people are really reluctant to give those out for obvious reasons. And also, look, this is 2014, so you use email as your safest and your most quickest and your most surefire bet for communications to the masses anyway, all right? So at the very least, just have a name and email address and try to get the town name that they're in, okay? And that way you can do really cool geographic targeting. We'll talk about that in a later video and blog post. If at all possible, have something electronic like a laptop or a tablet for them to sign up on, especially if the club's really dimly lit, okay? Whatever you use, just make sure that you have something to capture contact information from the fans so that you can communicate with them later, okay? Just like I do with you guys, all right? Like I said, that link to my subscriber list is below. Feel free to sign up on that, okay? You also want to PR that stuff out. Okay, you want to be a public relations agent for the stuff that you're promoting, okay? So make sure that while you're on stage, you call attention to your merch table. Don't assume that the audience is going to find it out on its own. And you can even like entice the audience by tossing like a free t-shirt or two into the audience, and then you can call their attention to the merch table in the back for more, okay? You could throw a bonus in for like people who do come over to the merch table, like, you can offer them, and these are just ideas, okay? Like a sneak peek into lyrics for the next song, or you can give them a chance to name the next album or single. Here's the thing. Do not give away merchandise for free as the bonus, okay? Do not give merchandise away for free as the bonus, okay? You can also let the audience know that you're going to be hanging out by the merchandise table afterwards. But if you do say this, you better mean it. So don't say you're going to be hanging out and then you end up not going there, okay? Bad. So try to do that, all right? So just to wrap things up, having a traveling merchandise tour table while you're on your tour, it's an awesome, great way for the band to make some extra money. It's a great way to get your music heard and your name seen, and it's an awesome way to meet new friends and gain a larger following. Okay. However, make sure that whatever you use for your from your table, it stands out from other bands' tables. It's neat, it's attractive, and it's personable to you and your band. All right. It should be organized. It should be diversified, so offer a lot of different types of things. And it should be easy to set up, easy to tear down at a moment's notice, but it's also open as early as possible when you're first setting up, and it's closing as late as possible, right when you're ready to leave, okay? So we'll talk in another video, okay, about some sound bits of like general advice I'm going to give you like in each of the towns and venues that you're visiting, okay? Until then, I want you guys to have an awesome time. Enjoy that tour. Pimp that merchandise table, okay? If you want to reach out to me again, my name is Rob Cushing, the Better Claim, Rob Cushing from the betterclaim.com music blog, okay? You can reach out to me by personal contact information below, okay? I have a link to this blog post below as well, okay? Connect with me socially, like I said, with my personal contact info. I have a link to my subscriber list. You can sign on to find out how I've been able to help not only myself, but tons of other musicians, those in the music business, even those in the traditional business, just totally rock what they're doing to the next level from a time and finance standpoint. And if you're even ready to start with me today, there's a link below to start with me for $25 to lock arms, and I'll work with you personally to make that happen, okay? So have an awesome day, okay? Keep prepping for that tour. Get signed up on my mailing list, like I said. Find out how you can have a way to like fund that way of life with the funding and time that you deserve as an artist, all right? So with that, my name is Rob Cushing from the betterclaim.com music blog, and we'll talk to you soon.